Few people know the importance of the glutes in lower back pain. Their large muscle mass helps stabilize the hip and relieve the mechanical tension that falls on your lumbar area. So, if you have lower back pain, strengthening them is essential not only to treat the pain, but also to prevent future discomfort. The glutes are only the most superficial part persona oisat, but just below we also have other less voluminous structures, but equally important, such as the middle glute and the piriformis, among others. Here you can see those related to the hip, a joint also very important for the health of your lower back. So forget about having attractive glutes, focus on having strong glutes that are capable of protecting your back, some squares that help support the load of your back. Today I have some carefully selected exercises for you with different levels, so you can find the one that best suits your abilities and you can improve your strength at your own pace, regardless of how old you are. To carry them out, all you're going to need is a mat or rug to lie on the floor. Are you up for doing them with me? Let's strengthen those glutes together. Very well. We're going to start with an exercise that I really like. It's the bridge exercise, but slightly modified so we can better work the gluteus maximus. Here, my assistant has passed me this magnificent leg, which will demonstrate how the gluteal structure functions. We have this posterior area, as we see here, this is the gluteus, leg from behind, hamstrings, calf area. And this is the main muscle that allows us to stabilize the hip and protect the lumbar area. When we remove it, when we eliminate it, right underneath we can find a lot of structures. As you can see, at the level of the hip and even the sciatic nerve, which passes right under the nerve of the piriformis muscle. And the buttock, as you can see, has a considerable muscle mass. It is very thick. It is the largest muscle in the body. And it helps us with all the movements that have to do with hip extension, taking that leg back, or to stabilize both the hip and the spine. We're going to leave it here to focus our work on it. As we were saying, the bridge exercise, we know that the bridge exercise is an excellent exercise to work that gluteal musculature, that hip extension, and it basically consists of lifting the buttocks off the ground, maintaining a good contraction of the gluteal area. We're going to add a small variation to focus even more on the gluteus maximus, as what it does, among other things, is rotate the hip outward externally. So we're going to start by placing our feet one against the other. Let's see it from here. As you can see down there, plant your feet together. But we're going to prevent those knees from falling too much towards the ground. They should be approximately 45 degrees from the ground, as you can see here. And from here, supporting your hands on both sides of your body, we're going to lift that pelvis as high as you can. Starting from an external rotation position, that glute is going to work much harder. The muscle activation is going to be much greater. Here, we have it well contracted, and I want that at the end of the movement, when you're at the very top, when that pubis reaches as far as possible. I want you to maintain a strong contraction here at the back of the glute muscles for 5 seconds to give quality to the movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We relax, we support again, we change the camera so you can see it again. Arms always supported on both sides. We leave that buttock, maintain a strong contraction at the top as if we had a bill between the buttocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We relax and repeat again. Firmly tighten your glute and pelvis, holding for 5 seconds. I'm sure that if you do quality repetitions, 5 seconds each. Repetition. Each time you lift the buttock and hold it and make an effort to contract those glutes. I assure you that the strength you'll gain here will be absolutely spectacular. I've only done 3 repetitions and I assure you that I'm already starting to notice quite a bit of that muscle work. We're going to do a couple more and then I'm going to show you ways to complicate the exercise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and relax. Many of you ask me, hey Marcos, what's the distance between the feet and the buttocks? I generally like them to be bent at 90 degrees. 90 degrees is a right angle, a square. If I had my feet here, my legs will be bent at 90, sorry, at 120 degrees, sorry, at 120 degrees. If I unfold my legs, here we would only be at 60. So, well, you can take out a square and measure exactly the bending angle because it's important. Next, those feet one in front of the other, make sure they are in good contact with each other. We raise those knees a little bit so they are not completely resting on the ground, hands on both sides, and we raise good contraction of those buttocks. The ideal is to do 10 repetitions, holding for 5 seconds to give a quality exercise, a quality work to that major gluteus muscle, major. If it's too easy, should we increase the difficulty slightly? What we can do is the following. Instead of leaving our arms on both sides, we place those arms on our belly, on our pubis, or even like this on our chest. What is going to happen now? That by having less surface contact with the ground, there will be greater instability and the feet will have to work much harder to maintain the position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. An excellent way to make the exercise a little more challenging. Let's go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 seconds. Good glute contraction. Upper part. 1, 2, 3. There, well contracted the glute. 4 and 5. Establish a good connection between the brain and the muscle so that contraction is effective. If this version still seems easy, that's fine. You can add some weight, for example, a water bottle, a 2 kilo weight, a 3 kilo ankle weight, whatever you want, and continue with that movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Here, not only do we have less stability because the arms are not supported, but we add an extra load. It can even be a 5-liter can, a heavy bottle, because the hip extensors, the gluteus maximus area, are very powerful muscles. Let's do one more. We touch down, we lift 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Very good. We relax, we rest a little bit. Discomfort may occur near the pubis. In that case, what we would have to do is raise the knees a little more so that there is less tension here, okay? At the level of the groin, because as you already know, the groin area is a very important muscle insertion area. We have it here. Just notice pointing out the amount of muscles that are inserted at the level of the groin. It's completely impressive. Very well, we're going to leave this leg here again because it seems like it doesn't, but it weighs a lot. And let's go with the second exercise, okay? One of the best to strengthen that muscle at the buttock level. For this exercise, we'll position ourselves sideways to perform the shell. The shell is one of my favorite exercises as it strengthens both the medium and major gluteal muscles. I really like it for its simplicity and because it can be complicated in many ways. The first thing is to set yourself up properly. Place your hand under your closed head or place a cushion to support your head and the opposite hand in front, flat, resting on the floor. Your knees should be bent at about 90 degrees so that your feet are directly under your buttocks. Not too far forward, not too far back. I want there to be about 90 degrees and for my heels to be underneath of my feet, just as you can see here. From here, it's basically like opening a book. That is, I'm going to keep my feet in contact with each other and I'm going to spread my knees as far apart as possible, as far apart as possible. And I want that at the end of that range of motion, you contract that glute muscle strongly again, that is behind. I want it to be very contracted, very strong. I want you to feel that contraction, that it fills with blood, that it heats up. That is going to give us, above all, a good workout at the muscular level. Next, we lower the knees again, they touch and we separate them again. It's a fairly simple exercise. It doesn't require a lot of strength. But if you're able to establish a good connection between the muscle and the brain, and you work with your seconds of contraction, I'm sure you're going to achieve great results. If this alternative seems simple to you, because obviously it is, we can do the following. Instead of touching with the whole foot, as I'm doing here right now, what we're going to do is touch only with the toes. We touch open to the maximum, and as you see, my heels are separated from each other. They are no longer together. So I touch the knee and I separate what's happening. Well, here, by not resting one leg on another, the stabilization work at the hip level is much, much greater. The difference is very, very noticeable. We go down, touch, separate. Only the thumbs, the big ones, are in contact with each other, and I keep it out while that gluteus maximus, that muscle, works well at the end of the movement. I will never tire of saying it. A small precision about the shell. Let's always try to have one shoulder on top of the other. What do I mean? That our gaze is over there and the shoulders are perpendicular to the ground, because many people move their shoulders, move their head, and what they're working on is the rotation of the spine. This is something we want to avoid completely. What we want is for the upper area to be a block, not to move, and for us to only move the hip here, isolating the movement. No rotations, no changing the gaze, one shoulder on top of the other, and we maintain that fixed position. Very good. What can we do? The next level of the shell. What we can do is raise the legs to level. That's the next level. I've eaten one. The next level would be, instead of touching with one big toe on top of the other, what we would have to do is completely raise the leg in such a way that this leg would rotate on itself inwards and outwards. What's going on here? Well, we increase the range of motion inward, and again the leg has to hold itself thanks to the hip muscles, which makes the exercise very difficult. And above all, it's difficult to isolate this outward and inward rotation movement, so pure at the hip level. I move the knee away from each other, the foot gets closer, but the foot doesn't rest. I bring the knee closer to each other, the foot moves away slightly. But I'm practically keeping the same distance between my 2 feet to perform the movement. And I assure you that here, as soon as you do 3-4 repetitions, your hip is going to feel much more tired. As I said, the important point is that you maintain that separation of the feet practically constant, and that above all, one leg does not rest on the other, neither at the foot level nor at the knee level. When you go down to maintain a constant work of the rotators of the hip, different difficulties for you to choose the one that suits you best, and so you can apply them in your day-to-day. That's why I give so many tools, because each of you have different athletic abilities. The third and final level would follow next. We lift our feet up so our hip already starts from an internal rotation. Remember not to lean forward one shoulder over the other. Fixed block position up here. And from here we are going to separate that foot as you see to the maximum. What happens here? Because the amplitude is much greater, because we start from an internal rotation movement. Feet together and we separate as much as possible, as much as possible, as much as possible. And the final work is absolutely spectacular. Here, at the level of the buttock, I let that leg drop, I don't lose the elevation of my feet, and I rotate, 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 rotate as far as I can. There the work is practically spectacular, especially at the level of the middle glute, which I'm going to show you in a moment. I open wide as much as possible with immense muscular effort at the hips. Let's repeat one more time. I open to the maximum. I keep your feet together, but the left foot is not resting on the ground. And he finished a very demanding exercise very well. I show you my hip right now, it's asking for a break. The gluteus maximus is the most voluminous part, the back part, but right below we also have the medium gluteus. Okay, this muscle, which also has a bit of a fan shape, which even goes to the front, is mainly responsible for stabilizing the pelvis in lateral movements. And the truth is that, for me, it is the most important thing. It's when there's a knee problem or even a lumbar area problem. It's stuck here, it doesn't want to come out, it's a bit shy, but I want to show it to you because its shape is quite particular. Very well, here it is. This muscle is the muscle on the left side. It would be placed exactly here in this way. And it's a muscle, as I've said, that stabilizes that pelvis and allows us to balance when we are in equilibrium. But on one leg, it prevents our pelvis from falling to one side or the other, but rather it supports it. Very, very important. When we get older, it weakens a lot and can be a big problem in terms of walking. The gluteus maximus, larger in volume, is located in the back. The smaller gluteus medius is also crucial for hip stabilization. Okay? Very important muscles. Let's keep them. I took a short break already. Let's continue with the different alternatives to work that hip, those glutes, always from a gentle progressive point of view, adapted to everyone. And we're going to do an exercise that I really like. We position the leg that we want to work behind. Notice, my foot stays right here. At knee level, I position myself face down. That's it. More. I support my arms in front, and from here what I'm going to look for is to separate my right knee, as you see here, from the floor. Don't overdo it, okay? Just a little. In fact, you won't be able to separate it much due to limited hip mobility. Support your arms well, lean back a little bit to give more range to the exercise. And we separate 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Incredible. I also really like this exercise as it works exactly those last degrees of external rotation when we achieve the greatest muscle recruitment. Here, it's also important not to twist, not to move your back, that your forearms are always in contact with the ground, and that it's the knee that lifts and holds. Lift and relax, lift. And relax. A great alternative for working at the end of the range of motion, which seems less demanding at first, but I assure you it is very tough. This is used a lot when we have some sciatica piriformis problems because it helps us to tone exactly those hip rotators, external rotators. Very good. Another great alternative that I really like is the side kick. The side kick, basically from the same position. What we have to do is move the leg up, but not so much the knee, but the entire hip joint. To do this, leave the leg down bent, just as we have been doing so far, and the leg up stretched. From here, we raise the leg a little off the ground, and we are going to act as if we were kicking. Point of the foot forward. I bring that point of the foot towards me, as you can see there. Next, point of the foot down, and I bring that leg as far back as possible. Forward, point of the foot towards me. As if kicking a ball, then point of the foot back, hip extension. When you go back, avoid exaggerating the movement. If I wanted to compensate with my back, I would touch the wall, but that would be an incorrect exercise. I want my shoulders to be over the other block again. Leg back as much as I can, and then forward. Backwards. Forwards. And so on. Backwards. Forward. Backwards. Struggling a bit against that inertia that the body has to lean forward when I throw my leg back. A side kick is called a side kick, very useful for strengthening that middle glute by introducing a little rotation movement, in case any of the previous ones cause you discomfort. This exercise can be done at various levels. The next would be the lateral leg lift, with the leg completely stretched out in an extension of the body. Neither forward nor backward, straight leg beneath us, toe pointing towards me. What I'm going to do is raise that leg about 30 to 40 centimeters off the ground, no more. I hold it for a few seconds and relax. Exceptional work for our middle glute is on the opposite side, but while I put it here, middle glute, I raise, I hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. You have to notice the muscle work here, okay? Right below the waist, and you're going to notice it very quickly, as if the muscle were warming up, as if the muscle were getting tired. Let's go again. 1, remember this position. 2, 3, 4, and 5, and relax. A common mistake often occurs when doing the middle glute exercise, which you're likely making if exercising at home. And basically everyone lifts the leg with the tip of the foot upwards. What's going on here? What we are working on are the hip flexors. We are leaning back, placing that pelvis more obliquely, and from here we lift the hip. And the muscle that works is not the glute but the psoas. The psoas is a muscle that we do not need to work. To avoid this, follow the instructions I gave you. Point your toe towards you. Lift your leg sideways and at no point rotate your leg outwards. The toe tip should always be parallel to the ground, not pointing upwards. This is clearly visible in the image. And if you want to add more intensity to the exercise, an extra level of muscle contraction, we can slightly point the toe. Look here, slightly downward as if you wanted to kick the ground. All this without moving our chest, okay? I want those shoulders to rest because my hip is screaming for a break without those shoulders changing, because it's easy to lean forward like this and do the exercise from here. It doesn't make sense, okay? Fixed position, raised leg, toe pointing down, and you're going to notice how the muscle work here is absolutely incredible. We're going to do a couple more, a minute and a half, one of my favorite muscles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, relax. We're going to do one last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and relax. Sets of 10 repetitions. At the end of the video, I'll show you exactly how many you have to do. How much, how many sets, how many repetitions. This is not all. We've done the side kick, we've done the lateral leg lift. There is a final level that I really like to work on. Also the stability of the hip, and again it is quite complicated. Now initial position same as before, lying on the side, arm under the head, hand in front, extend the leg. I raise it 30 to 40 centimeters. I let the tip of the foot point towards me. I want to feel that heel go. The truth is that I already have the right side very tight. Let's see if I can do it. I want to feel my heel going towards the wall, as if it were pulling my leg and wanted to extend towards the wall. From here, I'll make very small controlled circles without moving my foot. I won't make incorrect circles, as I've already mentioned. Foot in parallel, as you can see here. And circles, 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 small circles, very small, very slow, very controlled outward, and then 10, inward. And when you've done 10 and 10, take a little break, because my hip is asking for it. Again, a very intense work, very important to place that foot in parallel, so that the muscle work is concentrated in the middle glute. For those interested, the psoas muscle I've mentioned before is located here, not there. It's a very deep muscle that is located in front of the spine, just at the anterior level, on both sides of the spine, and then descends in front at the hip level. Here we have the spine, a piece of spine, and just this very thick muscle. Here is a bundle of the iliocostalis, which descends and inserts just then very deep in front of the hip. It's a muscle that's very centralized, that forms part of our core, and that has extreme importance in hip friction. Very powerful. A very, very powerful muscle that I don't like to work on as much. I like to focus the work on muscles like the gluteus, including the medius and maximus, because the psoas, most of the time, by sitting all day, we achieve the opposite. It has a lot of muscle tone, it's very shortened, and the muscles of the posterior chain, especially the gluteus, especially for vertebrae, are more atrophied and need to be worked on more. Very well, this is not all. Is there still a final version? For those of you who have pain at the hip level, you can't do these exercises, and it's to perform hip extensions to work. Remember our gluteus maximus face down, no? For this, you can lie face down. Rest your forearms in front of you. This time we want to rest our head on the floor. Remember, it's the gluteus maximus. It was brought here. And what we want to do is keep our head supported. I insist, once again, I'm not going to support it, because if not, you're not going to hear me well. What you have to do is lift your leg as high off the ground as possible, as we see here. Point your toe towards you, hold for 5 seconds and relax. We're going to do it with the other side, which is more accessible. Gluteus maximus. I lie down, support my head, raise my leg with the tip of my foot towards me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's another way to work the gluteus maximus. I like it less since people generally don't tolerate lying on their belly well, and as you can see here, there is little range of motion. 3, 4, and 5. Always point the foot towards you and always feeling how that heel moves away makes our leg longer. If none of this appeals to you, we can also do it on all fours, but people generally like it less in that position because it's more unpleasant for both wrists and knees due to knee issues. But we could also work For example, the hip extension, as you see here, always keeping the leg in a straight line, completely perpendicular to this leg. From here, an extension of the body with the tip of my foot, as you see here, towards me, as if I wanted to take my heel far away, backwards, for excellent work. Or could we also work the middle glute from this position? You're going to see it up there, separating the leg outwards as if we were a little dog. We hold for a few seconds and relax. We're going to see it here in double, separating one knee from the other, holding for a few seconds, and we relax. This is fine, but I prefer this middle glute work much less. It's less, as I would say, isolated in the middle glute, and it's less noticeable at the muscular level. However, I do quite like the hip extension. You can try it if the position doesn't bother you. Well, we've seen a lot of alternatives to work, both the gluteus maximus and the gluteus medius. Great squares of the lumbar area. Essential work for all of you who have frequent lower back pain, as they are indispensable. They are the great squares of our lumbar area, and we should never forget them. Personally, if someone asks me, Marcos, in your opinion, what is the most important muscle to work on? Do you know which one I would say, right? The gluteal muscles. Notice how important they are. So what I'm saying is, stay with me, because we're going to talk about dosage, about how you can do these exercises without hurting yourselves, without doing too much or too little. The exact amount to know exactly how to force your body to adapt and create. After all, strong muscles. Let's go back to the screen. I'm going to take this. Important dosage. Don't overdo it. Not by doing more, we are going to achieve better results. We always have to make a careful choice of the exercises that most suit us, that give us the best sensations. I personally invite you to do 3 exercises. 4 seems too much. And once you've chosen them, try them all. Choose the ones that suit you best. And once you've chosen them, you can do 3-4 sets of each exercise, repeating 10 to 12 repetitions per set. What does this mean? You often ask me this. We do 10 repetitions on the right side. For example, the shell. I finish my 10 rest from 30 to 60 seconds. I do the second set. I finish after 10 rest from 30 to 60 seconds, and I do the third set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10. And within each repetition, I like you to contract for 5 seconds to ensure good exercise quality. It's those little details that make the difference between good work and work that's absolutely worthless. So invest quality time in improving your gluteal muscles. If it's not too much trouble, we could do this routine 3 or 4 times weekly. Or you can add some of these exercises to the workout routine you already do to strengthen your glutes. It's important to always leave a rest day between sessions, because if we do many days in a row again, we're not going to give the body the necessary time to recover, and it's most likely that pain will occur. Pain is a multifactorial experience, and rest greatly affects how we perceive pain. In terms of exercises, there are some that will cause you some discomfort, others pain. How can we know exactly how to differentiate them? Well, it's very simple. What I use is a scale from 0 to 10. It's called pain intensity scale, where we have to rate our own pain. Everyone, depending on their expectations, depending on their history, what they have experienced in their life, what they have suffered, their sports history. They can also perceive pain in one way or another. 0 is the absence of pain, and 10 is the worst pain imaginable within your life. Surely there has been a moment of a lot of pain. That moment would be a 10, and 0 is when you have no pain at all. So if when doing an exercise you notice some discomfort and you score that discomfort as a 2, a 3, we will be in a safe range. It means that we do not run the risk of your situation getting worse. However, if during the exercise your pain level reaches 4, 5, or 6, it would be in a more dangerous range. As you can see, the faces are no longer happy. This means that we are putting the structure, the hip, the buttock, at risk, and we run the risk again of suffering more pain, of worsening the situation. So to always work within a safe range, I tell you to maintain a pain level between 0 and 4. This way we will always be working within a completely safe range. And if it causes some discomfort, 2, 3, 4, don't worry, it's not all bad. In fact, if it causes some discomfort, it means we're applying the necessary load to that muscle. Why? To make it grow, to make it stronger, and to better tolerate daily activities. That is, after all, the goal we seek with exercise is strong muscles capable of better tolerating the mechanical loads of everyday life. Well, friends, we've reached the end of this live broadcast. It's been a pleasure sharing all this knowledge with you. I also thank you for making it to the end, and I hope that some of you have joined me from home, even if it's just 1 or 2 exercises. You know that it's you who make physiotherapy accessible to everyone, and for that, I ask you to help me eradicate that common ailment, which is lower back pain. Help me share these exercises with the people who need them and thus improve the quality of life of all your loved ones or friends. If you really like my content and want to contribute extra financially to the channel, you already know that through a small amount you can access the memberships down here where you can verse that small amount and help me with content creation and help me improve life, not only yours, but of many other people. We are going to leave it here. I thank you again for making it to the end. We say goodbye to our gluteus maximus, a great muscle to improve lower back pain. Greetings, friends. See you tomorrow at 3 in the afternoon. Bye.